All right, welcome back, Lake Effect Sports. Kind of a slower week from a Cleveland sports fan, of course, but a lot of other news. We're going to start with the Indians, though. Matt, I'd say it's an okay week, right? Okay week.
Yeah, I would say so. They ended up being 500, 3 on this road trip. I mean, I think it was successful for the most part. You won one series, and obviously you didn't get swept in the other. Like you ended up being 500 on the road trip, so I would say it's successful.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to kind of be like that for a lot of the rest of this year, too, where you're going to get a good start from those first three guys, or at least a winnable start with those three. And then whoever is rotating in the 4 or 5 slots, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's really as simple as that. I'm going to start you off with just a quick question. When Bieber and Savali are back, who are the two guys you're keeping in the rotation?
Two guys I would keep. I think one would be Quantrill. I think he's shown enough to keep around. I think you just ride it out with McKenzie the rest of the year. Just that's just me though. But I could understand maybe putting Eli Morgan in that spot if he's shown a little bit to me to where there's a foundation there to be a good solid fifth starter. I just want to ride it out with McKenzie. He's show like that's just my opinion though.
My thing is, I think Eli, if he's your number 5 starter, he gives you a chance to win games. I don't always feel that way with McKenzie. He has those great games. His best is so much better than Morgan's, but his floor is just really bad. I mean, they both have equal floors. They can both give up 10 runs, but his floor seems to be a lot more consistent recently.
Yeah, you kind of know what you're going to get with him. You're going to get about 5 to maybe 6 innings. Obviously, since he is a guy that doesn't top out at 92 or 93, he has his limitations. He's kind of like Josh Tomlin in that way, where he has decent off-speed stuff and a fastball to set those off-speed pitches, but he has a habit of giving up home runs. But he'll keep you in the game. He's that type of pitcher.
But the thing is, for me, McKenzie's going to give up a ton of home runs too, and his fastball his is only 94. So if Eli's been showing spurts of getting that up to 93, sometimes McKenzie gets to 94. He's 93, so he's like a 94 to 92. Eli's like a 91 to 93. I feel like it's just a marginal difference at this point.
For sure, but I just think more than likely they want to work things out with McKenzie since he obviously has the higher ceiling, and they want to see improvement over time. Like obviously his velocity has gotten up. He seems to be more aggressive in the zone, which is causing his miles per hour to spike, which is probably why it was so low for the 2 months he was pitching. So I just want to ride it out with him. Like he's more than likely going to be a guy that's going to get a ton of chances. So I would want him to figure it out. Like see if he can figure it out.
And that's like where I agree, where it's like McKenzie is the better potential guy. Just this season, maybe you just put him back in AAA, let him just pitch there and build confidence back in his pitches again. Then start off next year with him, and we'll see with it.
Yeah, I can see that too. But that's my two choices, Cal and McKenzie. What you would probably be something similar, or would you switch it out for Morgan?
Cal and Morgan. So
okay.
About the same.
Okay.
It's not Mejia or Henches, I can tell you that.
Yeah, Mejia, he has good 4 or 5, he'll have good 4 innings and then 1 inning just kills him. Like lately it's the first inning. Well, early on it was the first inning, and then lately it's been the 5th or 6th where it just seems like they crush him. He just loses his control and they just crush him.
And it's not like he explodes once he gives up that first run. It's over.
Yeah, if it was like a dam, the dam would burst like with one small crack, and it just floods, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. All right, 3 stars of the week, Tim.
Yep.
Who's first?
You go first.
Awesome. I'm gonna take a pitcher. I'm gonna go Karinchak. He did give
Mhm.
up one run, but he had a lot of save situations. He closed out some big games and got us some wins. I think he pitch in all three wins. No, two of the three wins,
Yeah, there's a
and it's just a good week. Maybe not the greatest pick ever, not at all, but he maybe showed signs of being closer.
yeah, that's I think you wrote an article about this on Bet Jack where you're
Yeah,
kind of confused on the whole situation. I think Tito mentioned that they kind of were switching them on and off depending on the situation. Like you'll see Clase at some moments and then Karinchak in some moments. I guess it just depends on where they are in the lineup and when they deploy them. I don't think this says anything about them. They're both talented, but it's just like that's how they wanted to like use them for right now.
yeah. I did something just kind of breaking down the top four guys in the bullpen: Sandlin, Shaw, Clase, Karinchak, and kind of said who really should be the closer because they're just mixing it up so much. And I don't love that. I kind of like when a closer has his role and then you have a setup guy who can kind of switch through the innings and be like that Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely agree that they probably should pin it down sometime soon, at least by next year. Because I get it, they're both young, and young relievers can be very volatile. So I guess that's just be thinking ahead of a possibly like a volatile streak. Class A, he'll have that sometimes. Karinchak, he'll have that sometimes. So that I guess it's their way of like saving themselves from a very like a slump, pretty much.
Yeah. Honestly, my biggest takeaway from all of it was Nick Sandlin should get more opportunities,
Yeah,
but
I love it, dude. Like,
he's so good. And like his like when I actually like deep dived into his stats, they're unreal. He's like top 10 in the league for relievers in every category. If he could if he had a little more like games pitched in, he would be like top 10 in everything.
yeah, like he just gives the Indians such a different look. Like he's not like a side armor, but he just throws like in between that third quarter sidearm look, and he throws 94, 95, and his slider looks like a frisbee, and it just kind of sails and goes up, so the batter can't even reach out and like try to slap at it. It's so fun to watch when he's on.
He hasn't given up a run in like the past like 13 innings. I mean, that's like his last 13 outings basically, or 12 or 11 outings now. He's just good. That's what it is. He's got to give him a little more opportunity.
Oh, for sure.
All right,
Um,
first pick.
First pick. Um, I'll honestly, I will give it to Bradley Zimmer this
Yeah.
weekend. This weekend for him after we roasted him all last week. It might as well. That was just hilarious. How he had after not having more than 3 extra base hits, he hits 2 home runs, and then he has a couple key RBIs on Sunday. Like I'm giving it to Zimmer.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about how awful he was all year. Now he's taken over the leadoff spot and looked solid. Not like amazing or anything, but just very solid.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
All right. Second pick. I'm kind of between two guys. I'm hoping you don't take the other one that I want, but I'm gonna go with Ernie Clement. His
Oh,
huge hit. He's saved us from getting swept in Houston. 2 for 3 the night before is that. His glove is unreal. It's so nice finally having someone in the infield that when the ball is like hit not right at him, you're like, oh my gosh, they made a play.
yeah, he's been the perfect utility guy for us. Like for what we've had with like Yu Chang and a couple other guys kind of put in, he's been the perfect utility guy where if you need him in a pinch, he'll give you a hit, and then his glove is just fantastic. I love Ernie.
Ernie is exactly right. He is a true utility guy, unlike Yu Chang, where it's like he gets some hits. He's not like he's gonna go hit 300 or something. If he was in 300, he'd be playing every day.
Oh
But
yeah,
he can go play all three infield positions and play them very well. He's someone I would love to see on the team just for the next like few years. Maybe he does end up getting a better bat and work into a starting role. But if not, he's just our utility guy. That's awesome.
yeah. Like if he's just the utility guy for a long time, I think that's fantastic. Like he just provides a spark whenever he's in the lineup, and he's had moments where he's had that big hit or that big play in the field. Like yeah, just if he's that guy for a long time, I will not hate it.
Yep, I fully agree. All right, who you got?
Um, for number 2, I will go with Cal Quantrill. Like
Okay.
Cal Quantrill, like especially on against the Athletics, he like the one moment like where it seemed like he was going to get himself into trouble and the game could get away from him. He worked out of a bases loaded jam, getting a key double play and then a strikeout, and then giving the Indians a chance to win that game. That's why he's at my number 2.
I really like that pick. He's on again tonight, right?
Yep, he's should be starting right now.
Right now. Yeah. He's pitching as we speak, actually. But again, he just had a very solid week, gave us a chance to win. That's the biggest thing. If a pitcher gives us a chance to win, our bats haven't been horrendous anymore. They're not the worst in the league. Pitchers give us a chance, we can win games. And we're about to get some reinforcements. We're hanging around that wild card spot, too.
Yep. That's the oldest adage in baseball in terms of pitching. Give your team a chance. And that's what he's done ever since being inserted, especially lately. Like he's slowly started to improve. And that's why I like him staying in the rotation the rest of the year, because he has the stuff. He just never has been given an opportunity.
Yeah, he's a guy that I really think this offseason is going to take that next jump. I don't think he's going to ever be just elite. Like this snap of his fingers. Well, he's great this year. Boom. Next year, that's when we have to really keep an eye out for him.
Oh, yeah. He'll definitely be that dark horse, like breakout player next year. I believe that for sure.
All right. So, my third pick, you didn't take him. Cesar Hernandez. We moved him out of that one spot, and he's finally started to heat up. He's getting hits. Got another home run last night. Cesar is not awful anymore. Love to see it.
Yeah, I can agree. Like he might be having the weirdest season I've ever seen for a player who might not be technically doing good, but he's hitting career highs in home runs. He's second in the team in home runs. He's still hitting key RBIs. Like he's starting to heat up, which is great.
If he can get up to that by the end of the year, 265, because like pulling up any higher, he's going to really have to just be on fire. But just slowly keep pulling it up now. Before, that's kind of what we've been thinking all year, that Cesar's like, all right, next week, he's going to just start going up and he'll pull that average back up to 270, 280. And it hadn't happened, and now it's finally starting to maybe kick in. I don't know, don't want to jinx it, knock on wood.
Yep, knock on
wood, but hopefully he starts heating up.
For sure. For my number 3 pick, I will go with Fran Mill. Fran Mill's just been awesome ever since he came back from the IL. He's just been awesome. That's why he's been my number 3. No explanation needed. He's just been awesome.
Big guy hits ball far. Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Yep.
All right. So that's Indians talk today. Do you want to get into some NBA Giannis talk?
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, we're not going to be breaking the news to anyone. The Bucks won the NBA Finals.
Woo! Shout out to Milwaukee.
And both of our predictions were correct about whoever won that game would go on to win it.
Mm-hmm.
So, kudos to us. But we both got in some bit of a Twitter exchanges, is how I'll describe it.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it's an idiotic take. We had someone say Giannis is Robin.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton is Batman.
Mm-hmm.
This was before Game 6, and I thought that was the dumbest thing I'd ever read in my life. My initial tweet was, say you don't watch basketball without saying you don't watch basketball. Boom. That's it. Game 6 rolls along. Domination. Best player on the court, and it's not even close. He was unstoppable, and my big one was Chris Paul. Chris Paul talking about, he knows he's going to miss free throws. We know he's going to miss free throws. Everyone knows it. 17 of 19 from the line. 50 points. Utter domination. That's what I have from I just loved Giannis's performance that night.
Yeah, that just shut everybody up. And like the whole Batman and Robin thing was the dumbest discourse because it was all about aesthetics. Like Giannis plays basketball in a way that's a bit of a throwback to like when Shaq was playing basketball or Wilt was playing basketball. When centers and like power forwards dominated the game, that might not be a thing anymore, but it still exists in the game now because of Giannis, because he his length and his physicality, like he was just the best player on the court and he shut everybody up. Like, and on top of that, he carried the Bucks. Nobody was helping him. It was all him, pretty much. Obviously, the other guys got key shots, but he was the one carrying them throughout the whole game.
I got a question for you here. Do you think we're now starting to see a bit of a big man renaissance in the NBA? Embiid and Jokic were the two best players in the league this year. Giannis is basically a big man, and he is maybe the best player in the league. Kevin Durant, I know he's naturally a wing, but he's now starting to play like the small ball 4 and 5. And DeAndre Ayton now just showed in the finals how great of a player he is and how he wasn't a miss of a pick.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's definitely a revolution that is happening. It's like the big man is starting to evolve into the modern game. It's almost going back, it's keeping basketball's roots of height always mattering and length, and not, but big men are able to catch up to have the skills of a guard and wing to incorporate into their game now, where they can be just as dominant, if not better than some of the wings and guards that are in the league now. Like, that's why, as a Cavs fan, I'm not opposed to drafting Evan Mobley, because he has all the things you want in a big man these days. And like he has such a high ceiling as a guy who can guard 1 through 5, and then he can also score and develop his skills to where he can be dominant as a scorer. Like, that's why I agree with your take about a revolution happening.
And he's speaking of Mobley, he's got crazy handles. He might have the best handles in this draft. That's not an elite point guard. It's insane what he can do with the ball. He's just a great scorer. And yeah, I think we finally have had big men catch up to the guards. When around like that 2014, 2015, where Golden State kind of they flipped the game on its head, where they said, we're going to just run up and shoot every team out of the building, and no one could catch up to it. Now it's finally at the point where big men have like had their time. They've taken 4 or 5 years. Like, hey, I'm going to start developing a jump shot now. Because those first 2 to 3 years of the like, oh, it's just them. But then it kind of was like, oh, the whole league is now launching threes. Well, eat or be eaten. And they're deciding how to eat.
Whatever analogy you want to do. Like, yeah, like that, the league has evolved, and now the big men that have evolved with it, which is fantastic for the game because it gives the game more variety. Like, Giannis gives the NBA a different look, and now the NBA is starting to have big men catch up like Giannis has in a way that makes sense in the modern game.
Yeah, and again, like everyone's talking like, oh, you don't want Mobley, you want a guard. It's a guards league. Is it? That's one of those things. Like, is it a guards league? And I don't think it's ever really been, other than like Michael Jordan. It's not a guards league. It's a forwards league. It's always been.
That's what I've always agreed with. Like, guards are always going to have a harder time because of their height difference, unless they're the most elite players. They need somebody like a wing or a forward that can really dominate, and like, that's what the league has always been. It's wings, forwards, and now centers again.
If you're not 6'6", I don't think you're ever going to be like the best player in the league. Curry is almost the one guy that you'd be like, you're wrong.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, he was the anomaly. Everybody wants to try to find the anomaly, but it doesn't happen that much. That's why anomalies are anomalies.
So I think now we can kind of just transition into like just Cavs draft. That's why I kind of want to pick Mobley. Don't overthink it.
Yes.
I think the first 2 picks are they feel locked in at this point. I guess Mobley could go too, but why take a point guard? Even if you don't trade anyone, run with this team and add the best player available, who might just be the best player in this draft.
I agree with you. And like, he would help out so many problems because he can guard 1 through 5. He can be a playmaker along with a scorer. Like, and even if he's not like the superstar right away, he'll help out in so many ways he'll help out Colin and Darius on the defensive end. If, say, their defender starts to go into the post, him and Allen can just like swat anything in sight. That's another thing I like is you have Allen, who's more of a traditional center, paired with him, who's an athletic freak. Like, your defensive floor raises up just because of him, which is fantastic.
And that's like one of those weird things I just don't fully agree with scouts on. They keep talking about how Mobley, like, for his height, he's not that great of a block, like great at blocking shots. I kind of disagree with that. He does like mess up defenses. I guess his motor runs a little slow. I do kind of agree with that he doesn't always seem like he's going 110% on the court. But when you're 7'1", you can kind of get away with it from time to time.
Yeah, 7'1" with a 7'4" wingspan, like, he might not be the strongest guy right away, but his length is going to bother a lot of shooters and centers. Like, if he ever is like banging in the post, like that, he won't have any issues with that. I think eventually he'll have to gain some weight, but like right away he'll be fine, I think.
But his frame is easily capable of putting on 20 pounds in
Yeah.
2 years. This is not like some crazy thing. He's a twig. He needs to put on some weight, but not too much because that mobility of his is so important.
Sure. And yeah, like that, with him being such a athletic freak, 20 pounds is nothing. Like, if he just adds muscle, he might raise his ceiling just because he adds weight and muscle. And yeah, I'm just excited to get Mobley up next Thursday. I'm excited.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Don't say you're excited to get Mobley when you know now we're not going to get Mobley. We're going to get like Jalen Suggs or something like that.
Aren't you a Jalen Suggs guy, though?
I do like Jalen Suggs, but we have 2 point guards and we still haven't traded Colin Sexton. And Mobley is awesome. Mobley's so much better than Jalen Suggs.
Well, Kobe likes Mobley, so I expect on Thursday at number 3 to be the pick. But if not, Jalen Green's a good consolation prize. So
it's not my favorite consolation prize. I'll tell you that. That is a scary consolation prize of a guy that he's not going to help us right now, and we're going to suck again next year if we take him. Like, he might be great in 3 years, and I'll be dead wrong about how good he is, but he doesn't help the Cavs right now. Mobley adds 5 wins to the Cavs tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm not trying to jinx it, but I feel good that Mobley will be the pick. If not, Colte exposed me. I don't care. I know the rules.
All right. Okay. So last thing, Olympics.
Yep.
Starts tomorrow, correct? With torch and everything Friday.
Yep. The opening ceremonies to absolutely no one but the cameras, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm someone who absolutely like adores the Olympics, like watch every single event. I don't care about that even. That is the most boring thing of all time. Watching the teams walk in.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's more like ceremonial, and it is what it is. Like,
if I was on the team, I'd be like, this is the greatest thing of all time. But like as a spectator, it's like, wow, look at this country with one athlete rolling in. That's so cool.
I'm just ready for like the memes of like just like random countries, and it's just like some random funny name for a country, and everybody's just gonna meme it to hell. I'm just waiting for that because that always happens like every 4 years.
Yeah, I also think this. Okay, no, it's not. I was gonna say this is my first Olympics on Twitter. It's my second. I just got Twitter a little bit after that. I got it like 2015, I think.
I got mine in 2012. I've been in the trenches for a long time, dude.
Yeah, no, I haven't been in the trenches. I've had like other stuff for a while. Actually, I only had Instagram until then. So here we go. All right. So favorite thing. I'm just gonna say it now, so I can tell you swimming is my by far favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna tell you anything you probably haven't read. There's 2 guys that are must watches this Olympics. It's Caleb Dressel and Katie Ledecky. They are beyond insane. Katie Ledecky is going to win the 1650 by probably 2 laps. It is going to be comical that she's going to finish. She could take her goggles off, drop into the bottom of the pool, go down, grab them, put them back on, and still probably win. She's that much better than everyone. It's awesome. And then my other favorite thing to do is watching gymnastics. And then every time that they slightly messed up, step, I love critiquing that. Like, oh, that's minus points.
Oh yeah, like every time they do the like their jump over the bar and all the slips. Yeah, I love critiquing that. That's just so fun to me.
Me, who can maybe do a front flip off a diving board right now, like you didn't land that triple backflip. Oh yeah, minus 10.
Oh yeah, you didn't do that very complicated move. Oh yeah, minus 10.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm like, oh, you missed it. You missed it. Sorry. But what's your favorite event to watch, honestly?
Definitely gymnastics. I like watching that. I love like the track events. Like I just love like the relays, and then with when you see Usain Bolt was like the guy for a long time. I just love when he would just kill the competition every time he would just like one of my favorite memes of all time is when he was smiling and like ahead of everybody else, like, hey, how you guys doing? Like, yay. Like,
Just beyond domination. I mean, that's being that good where you can just turn around and look at back at everyone like, oh yeah, you're running too? Okay, sure.
oh yeah, you guys are here too. How's the view back there?
He's he's unreal. Definitely gonna miss him. And like obviously even like in 2016, Phelps wasn't the same as 2008 Phelps, but still it's you're gonna miss guys like that who are just when you remember like some of those moments, like the 4x100 men's relay for Michael Phelps in 2008. They're losing the entire race and they come back and win. And that, I can't believe I'm forgetting that announcer's name. He's the greatest of all time in any sport. He just loses his mind. And that swimming announcing in the Olympics, nothing better than it.
Yeah, swimming, and I remember that one. I remember when he barely just hits the wall just in front of the guy, and he fist pumps when they give him the win. Like that was even though it wasn't at his best, he still had that one shining moment. Like it was awesome.
Yeah. Jason Lezak's the swimmer that saved Michael Phelps's 8. And I'm just really excited. That's just my big takeaway. Nothing else but that. It's just who doesn't love the Olympics? It's just fun.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things that it's so special. Even if you're not a person that understands the nuances of track and field, like swimming, polo, whatever the sport is, it's just hits you in the patriotism. Like it hits you right there if your country wins.
Yeah, it's like that like TikTok meme, like stand up, stand up, stand up.
Yeah, when the like when your hate for America just like drips off as soon as you hear the gold ceremony and your team wins.
Yeah, stand up right now.
Get up! It's July 4th weekend.
Yeah. All right, so that's a show. You got anything else?
What are your thoughts on this was announced earlier today, like since the NFL, I guess they want to get players vaccinated as much as possible. If teams are kind of negligible, teams might possibly forfeit games if say they're not vaccinated to their threshold. What are your thoughts on that? Because it's thoughts are all over the place, and now players have made some reactions about how the Players Association is not protecting their choice like that and that thing.
Yeah, my thing is you have a choice. You have a choice not to get it, but you understand those consequences of not getting it. I think it's dumb if you don't get it, really dumb. And you're being a bad teammate. I don't care if you don't think you're being a bad teammate. It's I'm sorry, there's not one player in the NFL that's smarter than these virologists doing all this research that have been putting years of their life into this. If you think you're smarter than any of them, you're wrong if you're an NFL player. DeAndre Hopkins is the big one today coming out about how he might not play. That's not going to happen. He's not just going to turn away from millions and millions of dollars. But this is my thing. Who are you going to listen to? Scientists who have been doing this for their whole life, geniuses, or DeAndre Hopkins, who got caught with pee and poop all over him at the NFL Combine? You tell me who you're going to believe when it comes to science. I'm going to take scientists. That's just me though.
True. Yeah, like obviously everybody has a choice. Everybody. This is why America's great. Everybody has a choice. Everybody has the ability to do whatever they want. But obviously, those choices can cause consequences if not done properly, or the thought process is not fully thought out. And so, if a team doesn't reach that 85%, and you are the reason why, you're going to cost a lot of people money and jobs, because those coaches could be potentially fired. You could potentially lose out on a playoff spot, and that's just my thought process too. You might not feel like you're the bad guy, but a lot of people are going to think you are just because of your choice. And obviously, hopefully everybody gets vaccinated, and hopefully this is not an issue at all through the season. But right now, it's just get vaccinated. If get as many people as vaccinated as possible, and just try to at least be a good teammate and understanding. Like, hey, I might not be vaccinated, but guys, go get vaccinated if you feel like being vaccinated. I don't care. Just be a good teammate.
Don't be a Cole Beasley.
Yes. Don't be the Bills in general. There was another Bills player that was just outright this is a travesty. Why? All that stuff.
I just don't get. My big one is when they're it's not approved by the FDA. Well, it's authorized by the FDA. Are we really nitpicking wording that much? Really?
It's authorized for emergency use. Obviously, it's not fully approved, but right now they understand the need is so high that they got to put out something that they feel is the best that they can do at the moment until obviously it can be put together properly. I won't say
proper
that.
Proper testing in time.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I don't even want to say proper testing. I think that's not necessarily right too, because I think the testing is done correctly, and I don't want to say something like that. And it's all been thoroughly done. Just more time to see the effects of it.
Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
and then do you know what's they're like, oh, I wouldn't do it because it's not approved by the FDA. Do you think they're going to do it when it is approved by the FDA? No.
Yeah, they're handing out excuses just because they don't know. They just aren't comfortable with it at all. They have to feel like they have to justify it in some way. So they have to say something that makes sense that would get them off the hook if just because they don't want to do it.
Yeah. If you're not on the side of the smart people in this one, yeah, maybe just think. Maybe why are all these people who aren't as smart saying we shouldn't take it? And then all these geniuses who have put their entire lives into studying this are saying, let's do this.
Yeah, and don't you want to just not have to worry about having to sit out 10 days just because maybe a false positive happened and they still will have to put you in quarantine just because of a possible false positive? Do you just lift the burden off your shoulders and just get vaccinated, just so you're not costing yourself money, just so you're not costing your team games because of your absence. That's just pretty much it.
Yeah. So my big takeaway, hopefully the Browns minus John Johnson doesn't seem like he's going to be getting it anytime soon. But hopefully everyone else is getting it, so the Browns don't forfeit games, because we're awesome this year, and I don't want a season ruined because some idiots are anti-vaxxers.
For sure. And most importantly, Baker seems to be vaccinated, which is the most important thing out of all of this. So,
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully the O-line, Nick Chubb, are all vaccinated.
Yeah, most of the O-line is very smart. Our center's from Cornell, so he's obviously the smartest one. And so I definitely think they'll, the way this team is run, I think they're going to definitely get vaccinated just because of the competitive advantage, obviously.
That should be enough of it. There's a competitive advantage. If you're not a competitor, then you're not getting it. Plain and simple. All right. Yeah. That's a show. This was a long one. So hope you guys watched it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Check us out. Twitter, TikTok, down below in the description. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And see you guys next week. Peace out.